The arrow was a hand from death, then it stopped in the air when she sang. Mara's throat burned. The first note trembled out of her like a thin thread. Soldiers on both cliffs froze. Helmets turned. Hooves stamped. Even the ravens stilled. Below, the canyon swallowed her voice and sent it back in echoes that sounded like footsteps made of wind. The old bridge lay in pieces, ropes frayed, stones torn loose by last week's storm. 1,000 refugees pressed at Mara's back. She felt their breath, their fear. The enemy army lined the far rim, bows half drawn, waiting for the signal to kill them all. She had one thing left, the language her mother warned her to never use. "Don't let them cross," the enemy captain shouted. "Find the singer." Mara sang again. The sound was not a tune for ears. It was a shape, a calling. The forbidden speech of spans. Her mother had taught her 3 rules: never sing for war, never sing alone, never wake a sleeping bridge that doesn't want you. Mara had already broken 2. The wind steadied. Dust settled. From the canyon floor, stones rolled like beads. Rope fibers curled like vines. A faint voice rose from beneath her song, older than history, older than the river. It slid through the gaps like fog. She sang in a language that builds bridges, the captain whispered, almost in awe. Even he lowered his blade. The answer came from the shattered arch itself, deep and slow. "Carry my weight." Mara sucked in air. The voice wasn't a threat. It was a request. A need. "I can try," she whispered. And then she laid the shape of her heart into the song. Stone met stone. Rope grew ribs. The broken arch twitched as if waking from a long sleep. People gasped. Children clung to their mothers. The first plank stretched like a hand reaching for another shore. Mara's legs shook. She felt the bridge's age in her bones, flood years and snow years, carvings worn by footsteps, oaths broken and kept. It hurt like memory. But when she lifted the note, the arch lifted with her. A path unfurled across the gorge, plank by plank, span by span. "Go," she said to the refugees. 2 by 2. No running. They moved, eyes wide, feet gentle. The enemy army did not fire. Her song had reached them too. The language did that. It asked even swords to listen. On the third line of people, the captain on the far rim stepped forward. He lifted his hand like a man about to speak to a god. "What are you?" He called. Mara didn't answer. She couldn't. Every word she had was inside the song. He lowered his hand. He did not signal the archers. It made no sense, and that scared her more. The next plank slid into place, but it came slow, sticky, like a breath through mud. The voice within the bridge spoke again, closer now, pressing against her teeth. "Child," it said, "carry my weight." Terror hit her like cold rain. She knew that tone. She knew that word, child. Her mother's voice. Not the bright voice that told her stories by the fire. The other one? The river voice. The voice from the years when her mother wore a simple iron ring and stood by cliffs to teach. Rocks had to listen. Mara's song faltered. The plank groaned. Her chest tightened. Mother? No one else heard the name. People kept crossing. The ropes creaked, the boards whispered, the canyon breathed. A boy tugged her sleeve, eyes wet. "Please," he said, "my sister's still behind." Mara found the note again. She rose it like lifting a fallen tree. "You told me never to wake a bridge that didn't want me," she whispered into the song. "Why are you here?" "Because I slept in this one," the deep voice said. "Because I made a promise. Because the old kings built with our names." The twist snapped through her. Her mother had not just taught the language. She had given herself to it. Years ago, when the river flooded and the road fell, her mother had sung herself into the bones of this span. She had become part of it, memory wired to stone. This was why she never came back from the winter crossing. This was why she spoke of bridges like family. Tears burned Mara's eyes. The path kept building, but each board found its place by biting into her. Pain spilled into her calves. The bridge was passing its aches into her body, asking her to hold them so it could lift others. "Carry my weight." If she said yes, she might not stand again. Behind her, a horn moaned. Not from the enemy. From her side. She turned, heart dropping. A band of raiders, faces painted with ash, broke from the refugees. They rushed the bridge with sacks and blades, using the crowded line as cover. They had planned it. Hide among the desperate. Strike when the path opened. The captain on the far rim saw them and understood. He looked from the raiders to Mara, his jaw worked. Then he did something impossible. He snapped his own bow in half and shouted to his troops, "Hold!" The world tilted. Enemy mercy? For what? Because the song had touched him, or because he feared it? Mara, her mother bridged breath through her bones. Choose! Anchor them. Or let me fall and stop the raiders. You cannot do both. Choice. The hardest bridge. She looked at the faces passing her, a girl with a braid, a man with a limp, a baby with a hat too big. She looked at the raiders charging with knives. She looked at the captain who had broken his bow and now stood empty-handed on the far rim, watching her like a man praying with his eyes. Take my voice, Mara whispered. Take what you need. Are you certain? Asked the bridge. Mara nodded and poured her last pure note into the ancient tongue. The pain surged up her legs, into her spine, into her throat. Her voice went bright then gone. The bridge straightened, strong as a spine of the earth. The raiders hit the line and stumbled. The boards rose under the feet of the innocent and bucked under the feet of the violent. She had directed weight like a river directs driftwood. The captain stared, stunned. Then a sound answered from beyond him. Not a horn? A second song. A counter shape. It was coarse and sharp, the kind that cuts ropes. Somewhere behind his ranks another singer woke, one who did not follow the old rules. Break? That other voice commanded. A crack shot through the far end of the bridge like lightning. Mara reached for a note she no longer had. Silence scraped her throat. Her mother's voice came soft and fierce inside her bones. Daughter, if you cannot sing, then speak my true name. What is it? Mara asked. The canyon roared. The crack widened. The captain stepped onto the shaking span, eyes hard with a sudden decision. He reached out his hand to Mara across the distance. Her mother whispered the name. And it burned, and everything changed. Mara opened her mouth cut to black. Want the name and what it breaks next? Hit follow so you don't miss part 2.